Wow, early again, and what's the time right now? It's 7:10 a.m. and it's November the 20th. Just 5, 6 minutes ago, I had two very quick experiences that I wanted to make sure that I shared with you because, well, it's fresh. It happened just moments ago, and I'm always so grateful for those around me, for my guides, for showing me these things, even if they are just a glimpse. The first one was so interesting because I could feel that familiar, I'm going to call it what it is, beyond body movement, I guess, where there was this sense of being moved from this time it was like I was moved from my bed and I was just being pulled along. I felt like I was off of my bed actually and on the ground, and almost as if I don't want to give you the impression that I was being dragged on the ground like someone was dragging me. It certainly didn't feel like that. It felt like a movement, like I was being moved across the ground, or maybe gliding across the ground. It wasn't like I was being dragged, but there was definitely movement. I definitely felt myself move to, and I don't want to say the ground, it was the floor, it was my apartment. And I don't think I've ever felt it this much before, where I actually felt myself moving in this way. It's like, well, okay. Obviously, I felt movement. I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. And this is what happens when you're, I think, kind of making a video fresh with your thoughts and trying to gather them. When I do the Beyond Body, I always feel movement, but this was different. And I'm simply going to say that this was a different sense. When I arrived in my first destination, I was standing outside and I was in a normal neighborhood. For some reason, I had a pair of what I think were plastic glasses. They seem to me almost to be like those 3D glasses you would get in a theater. And the reason why I'm saying this is because they felt like that. They felt sort of flimsy, like those things would feel. I think I tried to put them on for a moment, but I think one of the things that would hold it on your ear or whatever, one of the parts of it was missing. There was one that was there, and then you had the glasses themselves, and then part of it was missing. And so I didn't do it. I started walking around, and I was in front of these apartments, I think. They were apartments of some sort. Don't know what country I was in, don't know exactly where I was in. And I wanted to experiment, so I jumped into the air to see if I could fly. Now, this might sound, I don't know, strange, because if I were out of my body, there would be no doubt that I could fly. But I want to tell you that when I do the Beyond Body, there are places or realities that I visited where flight was possible. You could fly. The rules were different than they are here in this reality. However, when I tried to do it here, wherever I was, it did not work. I jumped into the air and I came right back down again, just like gravity should work. It worked in this world as well. So I was unable to fly. And I believe I recall thinking to myself, well, that's no fun. I'd like to be able to fly. or do something like that. And there weren't any real people around. I didn't see any people, at least in the few moments that I was there. And then suddenly there was a shift. And that shift kind of came in a blink of an eye. As I recall, there was darkness again. And then this time, there was a more familiar kind of movement. I could feel it. That movement of just acceleration. And then I could hear that sound, that sound that builds in your ear. Many of you who astral project will know what that sound is. And it's a very distinct sound. I heard that for just a few moments. And then, of course, there was darkness. And then suddenly, I was in a place that I would think would be inside an apartment this time. So I was outside in this other world that I came into, and this place I was inside. It seemed to me to be an apartment, but I remember a few things. There were drawings, and for some reason I kept thinking of Winnie the Pooh, because it seemed to me to be that there were drawings of Winnie the Pooh on this board. And I was just kind of looking at it, and for some reason I was thinking, I can't think of the original author of Winnie the Pooh. For some reason I kept feeling as if I saw his name. And I'm sorry, for those of you who know the name, I know the name. I think it's Christopher Robbins or something like that. I don't remember the exact name, and I apologize if I got that wrong. Again, this just happened, but I believe I may have saw his name. I'm not sure. I saw these drawings on this board, and then I started walking around, and I went through a door. Now, this was the most interesting part of this experience, because when I went through the door, I was in this massive theater, and there were people everywhere. And they were waiting for, I think, a performance to begin. And so I walked, if you can imagine a theater and you can imagine the stairs that you go down when you're in a theater, I started walking down this theater, and there was this man. I remember he was in a tuxedo. I think this was the kind of affair that women would wear long dresses and men would wear tuxedos. It almost seemed to me to be almost like maybe the Academy Awards or some sort of award ceremony as well. Maybe not as much a theater performance. This man looked friendly to me. I believe he had dark hair. I think he had brown eyes. He was a little bit on the lighter side. But one thing that was distinctive to me was that he spoke Spanish. And I remember saying hello to him, and he said hello to me in Spanish, and he said in Spanish that he was from Argentina, de Argentina. And I thought, wow, I might have the opportunity here to kind of get a sense of where I am. Obviously, I thought to myself, I'm on Earth. I don't know what time it is in the sense of what year it is, where any of this is exactly. So I asked him in Spanish, where are we? What is this place? And he said we were in Argentina. Now, I'm not sure. This was kind of strange to me. I'm like, we're in Argentina. And I think the next thing I was going to ask him was, what year is this? And before I could get the words out of my mouth, I was back. These experiences are way too short. And many times I don't have the opportunity to really understand where I am and what's going on. But yeah, that was the experience. That was what it was. And if you have any thoughts listening to this of what exactly, this was, where this place was, if this may have had something to do with the creator of Winnie the Pooh, please let me know. I'm not sure why I would have seen that. I'm not sure why my guides would have guided me to that, but certainly there has to be a reason, perhaps for inspiration. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. And until next time, take care.